94.7 Asempa FM Suni Ekosiisen Jumedi no asogoswa utie no the final leg of the show which is our discussion segment sponsored by Givers Herbal and a Franco Trading Enterprise. And you may na airboy yede yen discussion segment no apremo in the moma yen shannon so na impenyifo mienu na abekansa e wo studio ha ye wo lawyer Twum-Barimah and Atik Mohammed. We said today is my son Papa Kofi J of University of Professional Studies. A happy. It's his birthday. Okay, from his mother and siblings and myself, we wish him a glorious birthday and good luck in his end of semester exam starting today. Kwame Ej Asante, constituency chairman, Okaikwe South constituency. In the Okaikwe South constituency chairman, Neba Kofi J, University of Professional Studies, Accra, NAWA, with a happy birthday and all the best in your end of sem exams, which begins today. Do have a really good birthday. Ma yenhwena yemfa de aka na entwem na afemema ebedwefo yakwaba na yemfa nkomono enhyehye so Ekosiisen so ni ehaya Asempa FM. Lawyer Twum-Barimah akwaba na apomu ye de
obi nyame hwe so ho ye de
nyame adom bibia
boko tie na achi akra ekopia galam se bi twa
ehia papa men Canada
na Wednesday na wiamu we na me ti bewura mu na say and Wednesday and so na ye kan say madam so na ye pa no
sure UPS
we do feel na say some sanda na straight to UPS
and who call
even no be say
yeah senior communications team member there.
Anyway, ya transit mama infa akonya nsunsu ma yewura chief Julius Zebra so trinkwa.
Yes, belated birthday.
Kwada na me ka madam dia me ka say na say kwada na so na ye ne birthday na kasa. Nyamisha no mfinshia duonum enwotwe de.
Yeah, 58 years.
Wakaka wakako Tinyakopon ma no enkwa Bible say nipa wo nkwa na wade nyinara enti enkwa ahoden wo sade ana say ha yesa busa Nyankopon fa no no na sade owo abotre odo
yes
wo tie me se obi mi hu pani a kumba fa phone so text papa me se wo any 10 minutes wo
Julius Deborah
yeah superb human being
any 10 minutes wo benya responses ya I mean, Sabi, ya na ya correct Sabi tafracho wo bi film na ase ya na ya kana chiase but television is obi tiase ya wo TB Joshua can say me when President Mills died or ba Ghana
yeah
or say a dance na mood fan ho no he needed those things when he was alive
o tiase no
was say e bia na nka mana ho den mo na ka na ya no ka bi kwa kan ku ne ntam
yeah
entino nipa na tiase so wo so ban pa bia eye fe na ya
na waka
aseka. And I think that many insano, but honorable Julius Zebra minim anybody idea won't miss anybody now so but I am yet to hear one because it doesn't matter where you are listening to something about him from, whether from the left
or from the
right. The kind of compliments are what na very encouraging. A nipam pimpimwa a quananim ada jene bro benya even memen day were small get together
sure
obi na no krano just say obi asanka anka artifact na kayen ba no mu ya baba chia but this man could move at it from table to table
and greet everyone.
Appreciating every soul who made time to come to the program. I mean to just to appreciate him.
Yeah.
And no.
It's true. I think oye ni papa.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
And you know, some people are good people.
Yeah.
I think he's a good person.
Yeah.
He's a good person. Now, I was saying about party, but na online lecture binti mentimi anko
e won one tiama na we dey on ka don one tiama
masa yam frewa oh mimi na
oh and fa che me
organizers na yes
e bia na me mo na me yo se go bia nka se ka me aso me ka kire enti we dey we em no kwa doze ka se mo kwa me ama jafa enti fa che me but I don't know to nchen obi sir I just see what now oh sir dey ba ho we come you busa keke I just see what
nyame ya adom
tie na we dey chat here na me
nyame ya adom ba nsam e koso ho
nsam ne esisi nsam esisi na nsam so koso ba
say
ne president ku fedo koka
oh no ngwa bra but we win na aka bi nsam de o ma to nsam gumpa na it's very obvious that woman hia hwe free asen no ayi ba ko ndesen Fomena ko da bi Fomena
yeah time independent
papa ya na we express speaker first deputy sorry second deputy rather
sure
de ba yi and ma won bo kan ho and we dey chat na de bra
we say happy birthday to my good friend Mr. Ben Arthur, Executive Secretary of the Lands Commission. May God bless him. Honorable Ebenezer Nina Nate and ode happy birthday message we kwama Mr. Ben Arthur, we Executive Secretary our Lands Commission, sounds so and a CEO of the Minerals Commission, Lawyer Martin Ayisi, and a now with a happy birthday to you as well. Atik Akwaba, it's saying
I hope me Ejisu nyame adome ho na wonso
adumia bibia boko adumia ekoyi
ne di kan ma minchia the Republic of Gamaga for na minchia ye chief one ya hwafo nyina
sure
no just by way of observation during the week no mititi nsem and I was actually surprised because I've had the chance to see and to read some documents in relation to Ministry of Education, any Juma or Moody.
Okay.
I was shocked, a presentation that was meant to highlight Juma Ekosiisen, Ebimo decided to turn the entire thing upside down.
Yeah.
Look, I've always said, given where I come from, education is the only way out of individual and societal poverty. And the education is at the core of our growth as a country. Look, the next phase of Ghana's growth, you can't discount the education economy.
The factor
of education. What I said, the knowledge economy is going to be an integral part of Ghana's growth going forward.
Yeah.
Until Kwanya SFS, because look, Adisuano, Dano we've got to the age where we are no longer using chalkboard, need chalk to write. Yeah, you know, learning and teaching, acronym, and transformation in education is a multifaceted enterprise. What I say, and this Obi Bon Homodin trying to bring Ghana to the 21st century level of education. For example, an initiative to build model GHS
schools.
And all of a sudden, some people are turning it into, say,
Obi schools in blue and white.
How? But he said that too.
No, TA.
That was his word. I listened to him, I think.
You see, your kind said he didn't say he was going to paint until
he said all.
Will you have patience?
A contest. Within a contest.
And that's what I'm providing for you. You see, and in the end, my understanding, and because I've read documents from the ministry, look, Ministry of Education is supposed to be a ministry that is driven by research. Until any policy they are evolving has to be informed by policy. I mean by research. Omo who say Awufo would prefer to send Omunkwala to schools dining yefe. Painting here different and the rest of it. Bright colors and they have uniform that stands them out. The content may not even be at par with the public school in terms of teaching, but essence the environment here different. The branding, people would prefer to send their wards to our private schools, And also, look, what stops Ghana? Year 2 taxes buying from providing public education that can compete favorably with our private schools or even do better. Secondary schools public schools are the best in the country. But saying now when you come a step further down, since everybody prefers to do private school and people are struggling to pay the prohibitive rates of private schools.
Very expensive.
Very expensive. Obi wa shifting and our rotating on color, across many different private schools because
a matter of choice, really. I mean,
what do you mean by a matter of choice?
Basic school.
But
if you have a public school close to you, let's say, or prefer private school, you have.
Why do you think they would prefer that? That is the question.
Okay.
Why do you think they prefer that?
Quality.
Exactly. And you see, everybody, every agent makes rational decisions or makes rational choices. And Omar Jean is a school daya etu of fefe. Akola no kowa or wana sumje obesuya ade no kama and the rest of it. Uniforms or mushakra sometimes a flex ma.
Yeah.
Rollins na disa no prosperity tunkusa na yi na di bai.
Ko containing katenkwan.
What I say? On no di bai. And before then, no, there were unique uniforms at basic people's in basic schools. Ejisu. And sad, you know, and on the private schools for no, yeah. So if the argument is we want to change the colors of public basic schools to make them more attractive.
But in this case, the model schools, not
the
all
model schools. No.
I think that is where specificity and they generated this whole hula.
You see, it was just mischief. How would you? The person spoke about building model schools that are up to the level of education, and also as an addition, painting nukra says and that the choice of uniforms should be left to parents.
Yes.
And then you decide to say, oh, Papa is your painting basic schools in Ghana. Some of them are not even qualified to be called basic schools, and that is the reason I see NCC school are dying for now. So mischief, how can you paint?
I saw memes be on social media.
What else? And that was deliberate.
Touch roof.
Now we painting.
They are painting blue and white.
Wow, it should tell us this is. This should tell us it is clear mischief. And for me, yes, Hannah, you discourage Obia or Bonhomodin to transform the sector.
Yeah.
I would have thought initially I had my issues with education because of my passion for it, but we shared the kinds of progress we are making.
The investment in education has been massive,
and progress has been equally significant. So when we begin to denigrate some of these interventions and ideas, it's not easy to sit and ideate on some of these things. How do you get parents and pupils to want to attend public schools? Yes, you public school be not 5 penny class, but next to our school, a private school is overflowing. There's congestion.
And as you say, what you need is a private school, whether
the quality is there or not.
Once a private school, no student gumusa. Private schools be a dying.
Exactly.
You are like, hey, and students are.
And I want him. It is only public schools that entertain only trained teachers.
Sure.
And they are not just trained for nothing. Just say to be trained. Nanso, we feel they offer less quality. Because Usha school are there now, we feel they are not befitting. Colors Nukra are putting people off and the rest of it. Now, obviously, look, as part of the progress, we need to also change how we even color the buildings.
Yes.
In color uniforms, let the wards decide what must say. Yes, you see, painty school are dying all over the country, the dilapidated ones, and then what I say. And a school uniforms, you say, yes, you are quite procurement.
Because changing uniform, the colors,
parents in there.
Oh, okay.
What I say?
Okay.
And how can idea parents be if they decide the colors are uniforms are a penny, they will buy or sew them. Now, so you see, every minister now when you procurement gig or the school uniforms now mancrophobia. Okay, I say the first time we attempted school uniforms from Kuala, Zalabi and Mankwala. What you are Kuala be I didn't yet. What I say? We realized this was a bogus policy to begin with. And a jay. And the Ufona, a pom or Montadia.
Jalabia school uniform.
Min Canada, one size fits all. Akoya 2 years old, 5 years old, Munina, what I say? So government is no longer sewing uniforms for anybody. And if the parents decide that uniforms are a penny, yes, you be now a huge procurement gig, and I am from my party for now wait dear or no idea until Yanka Santia. Meanwhile, it's just an idea that is meant to encourage people to want to go back to the public school system.
I saw pictures of Benghazi Masende pictures be Fato Somami Sisia. I'm told say the STEM Academy.
Yeah.
East Legon, Accra here.
Yes,
beautiful. And I was like, all of this.
And the idea is to raise public schools, at the basic level, to the point what was it called middle schools.
Yes.
They are like self-compounded schools, very beautiful. School, teach you say no. School, teach you say school.
Anyway, the East Legon.
Come on, imagine
the STEM Academy.
This is a public school.
Share your Facebook, YouTube, and I hear there are several of this across the country. STEM academies.
Yes.
On the science and math.
That's the secondary school level. Basic level, so share some of the schools there. Story buildings.
The one I saw that I was like, wow, the KG block. Almost new kindergarten blocks.
Meanwhile, it's supposed to be public.
And they're for that.
Exactly.
I was shocked.
So the question ministry in Ejisu is what stops us from giving Yankwala the B treatment at the basic level? Because we pay taxes.
This term thing is solid. Where senior high school?
This
is solid.
This village before Yagba. When you are from Wali, it's free. Obin
Wali.
No, when you're Wali. Ufri Wali, I call Yagba. Bimsi. Look, is it Bimsi or somebody should help with the name. No, as a university campus. Nefe.
I know your way schools Nibia.
STEM schools Nibi. It's part of the STEM schools.
Okay.
Nefe. Beautiful. Okay. Me, I think say Obi ya let's help. If we can't even take part in the ideation process. Not Obi the least we can do is to support.
Very well.
Because at the end of the day, a good basic school system is profitable for all Ghanaians.
Very well. Very well.
Until
we never betray. We say passing.
Dead passing, yeah, that's
passing. Anyways, yes, lawyer. Now, person can be was Adi.
Obi.
Yes.
Me challenge me wo. No market to but I'll be asking some few questions.
Okay.
So, opesa was school no. It's not really a problem. But an annual year changes school tadi
across the country.
2019-2020 academic year. Then I see what hunting affairs are.
We near all schools. The new proposal we are just the model schools. Okay. I'm told.
So, me nobody to voice no.
Me patch or Dabi, me new
I think because
I can get the exact quote.
Dear me tea ya and I said dear me tea and I said and said or say. I stand to be corrected from what I'm going to read.
Okay.
This is him. 1 second. Okay, so I'm reading a report put out by TV3.
Okay.
So we are switching to blue and white. We are painting all the schools to give it an attractive outlook.
Okay.
The word here is all.
Which schools? There should be a context.
All within a context.
Which all schools? Which
I think the context.
There has to be a context.
And you see, I don't have to put that context there.
Okay.
I'm just
the
saying.
Reporter ought to have.
Exactly. But the American said,
okay.
I listened to an audio also, and I also heard that word. We are changing. We are painting all the schools. Sanana Samno, let's say 5 minutes. And we try just 30 seconds, except no penny free more.
Okay.
At the then we can say maybe we may be misquoting him. So what I say? But I no crown. My first question, but I said you want to say the and Tadiano. School, 2019-2020, buying we are press. We're introducing school uniform for schools. The air can you answer Obi, and yes, go for still buying schools. You have some money, so blue and white, air come
model school, Senate kind.
And STEM for never blue and white.
And model JSS now, and a model JSS all over the country.
And no send yes so far. Model JSS, yes, so far.
Almost, but I have no information.
I must say. we are, I mean, a function as Nkwala Ekom Ezen.
Mse Baku Bosumchi.
And send the and the more weird that. And no more we are more students cry. Yeah, girls there no.
Oh, send the
all girls in the high school.
I want to know are you what do you free for the contents and by Yasi.
Send your
Piasia.
I'm talking
secondary school.
Yeah,
that one is a
over Piasia. I will give you free contents by oh concert will be sure. Minimum says supposed to do the minimum consequence in the area in minimum is 3. And a minimum say na on no education Kasankasan secondary school.
On the school no.
To on the school no neighbor. On the school no judge. And on one private secondary school.
Sure.
And they say I don't know what happened, but they say
I'm
a buying man. And no so no one changing by I'm saying STEM science and whatever school media. It's a no judge here was just behind judge from secondary school. Or I on one room one so. So I know how hard that plus the STEM sorry girls and there was some girls then and also what the medical so now from what you are saying you what say and I said to me I think essay papa na some kind nyina ejina just the STEM schools and also
model schools
white and blue or blue and white and then one month na be say white and blue uniforms no nyesa nimbo nye school bia and na be
yes
sa clarity ni ba breben ba se bra akosi kwatin
issue statement
but that is what my worry is. So that simply means that the minister might have communicated wrongly. The minister might have communicated be another kind of making ya maybe a no chiro mu said that be ade ne say nyasa ne ka say yekoya no nemu yekoya bia yekoya matic ni twumpe obi nka ho enti ne yenko clarify say atic ni twum ne ene yekoya mo ne obi nka ho because from what that twum said ne dey was it all schools, all public schools where obi dey now okay and okram pa say about time to do no by choice as you said ade wo mama ekọ private schools. And as Atik also said rightly, it's true. So, private schools, you know, and suddenly licensed and very well trained teachers. But the question is, Eban is saying that the only, I mean, the very certified teachers, you know, and best students or I mean graduates in one way or the other, than the only certified teachers, and I said licensed or qualified teachers. I didn't hear.
Part of it is the issues about the infrastructure, you know, and even the kinds of uniforms Nkolani share.
See, no, I wouldn't agree with you on that part, because I don't want to believe say because I'm not wearing sorry, a more or less an attractive uniform and I'm my performance from my school is not good. Performance I'm making me. Me say about the saying a private school. Women need the certified or trained and now licensed teachers. And most students need a far better than public basic schools. Trained, licensed now or certified teachers. You just say one more day when you saw that sentence is study. Into a could you know about the Ankasankasa. I bind the animal no was expertise, no, that's a well skilled personnel, no, and no 18 more good the product. And nothing now acquired by choice now, or by time I say, me banning here very good foundation. And the SARS unity, and Montessori.
Before education was privatized, then your public schools in
yeah, public schools
and Nkola were not doing well.
They were.
So you see,
so we've gotten something new now. There is competition. Now private schools are in the mix.
Okay,
no, so it changes the dynamic.
Secondary schools,
sure,
they are not doing better than public schools.
Oh, now most of them are not functioning well because of the free education.
But even before,
omo position who you omo numbers so because Stephen Ade, Professor Stephen Ade school is say oversubscribed.
Okay.
Christian High Secondary School.
Okay.
Solid.
Okay.
Former Wesley Girls old student almost school no. Okay. Legacy Girls also a Wakuse area Beautiful school. In the Omunya, opposition, and after all, I was on international or Ghana international or name.
Someone that say A+ schools and now private schools.
Numbers.
Of course, I mean, I want the other because I want the A+ schools. I mean, they are
A-level free one out Baligon.
Correct. So what I said. And remember the answer, Obi. My worry is that I come here in Kaban, the no should rather be the marker.
Yeah.
And could be a so they are born a bra. In that, on the what the correct people to be teaching you. On the correct people. Graduates from Evans and University of Education, Uniba, and now our training colleges, New Cronin Bay, and now one more copy. There are people that have been taught how to teach students and manage students. One more licenses I'm saying, I want to be passing it near that day. And you be moving as one you. It's about how you manage your class and so on and so forth. Exams and
and they will feel it.
Yeah, I think it's about 4 components, and my bad for be when exams no which and also.
Teacher voice almost okay fans kakra.
And another matter for another day. The amount of failing we
exams.
We need to go into it. Now every day you failing rate in this was so what I say because say by and you be I'm say 3-4 years.
Yes.
No license exams yeah and you know say failing rate
course more passing the doors so see more failing
no but say so yearly no. So we say oh can there so far na no can na boom one more passing na but me can say afibia no ye tro wi a one more passing no me failing no at saying I mean the one more ntimi nya kwan metra de no doors say one more ayi na if that is the case then we have to look at it again because I nya hwe kwan nipa na ko train na wi ya trade say this ade wi so ban say na one nya no pass na opia bontin dia this 4 component 5 component paper and they won't even pass. And this is another discussion for another day. But what my question is the performance.
Okay.
I ban the sign of private schools, you know, our women need, as I said, the very well certified teachers, you know. And my very good students. My Mako, yeah, give me 10,000 Ghana, 20,000 Ghana, and have some. But I find you know what correct teachers in Mumuno. I am one person. I'm never in support of say privatizing BB. You say I buy and it's only that's on mine. This meaning to mother because sabi the first so I didn't buy and now give you buy something to come atika. Sabi you sabi the first. I think go for the free sabi the first India baba.
Or the Ghana
one or the bayo. Now na buy for you no want me money. So what I say? So these same people, no teacher for now, when they are still there, government is still training. The one who call continuous, you can say,
development
programs. One more,
professional development.
Very good. Yeah, mom said training is in. So why are we not getting the good outcome from our schools? Now, BBI follow BC, follow any other idea. When Corona bomb who wanted to do one year more free private schools. Why?
Yeah. Anyway, that's just
by the way. And see, maybe understand.
More holistic conversation.
Of course, I mean, sir, if the education minister is saying that or education transformation, it shouldn't just be building model schools or whatever. But it shouldn't just be that. But rather, no, said there's this thing once and so no. How can we bring them up to the level no say school year board in the GIS and whatever no and change bibi yen ofo repani ni wan you and change
assemble no anya
assemble na wan anya you want to put home na to the same level obi you think go at the same level anyway maybe pass the mama chan base your friend no Joseph Jackson was say or Toronto, I think so.
Yeah.
Now, you think more yeah, you are here. Me was
okay.
The text be
a chairman.
Out of yeah.
Assemble no nya. Oko Lincoln Community School. You are. I believe
Then oh.
I come website na school fees. Oba ochina na ye di home come. O dey go school fees in the bra.
I just say you obi an obi me dey say say individual mpo. That's what the
government wants to do.
Yeah.
And one exactly.
So that's the vision. There's this thing once, no. Any 20, 30, whatever years.
Apart from building way, no.
Yeah.
Some of the old ones are being reconstructed. to the level once you come to Jesus, it's just like and you say you could
model senior high schools.
Yeah. Some of them were brought up to par. Yeah. What's your say?
Like I said, anyway, I still stand by my point. Okay. I'm not against you building model schools or building attractive schools. Giving them all the needed,
facilities, good libraries, and the rest of it.
But the Americans say, and the phone woman that does for free by you.
Okay.
In terms of numbers, you can old phone one numbers and new ones here are
very well.
So we need not to neglect the old.
Mate, I'm running my engineer trust watik. Let me come to you. Other issues I pursue the home commoner in trust.
Okay, so with them what time you were SML and they were EC.
Yeah.
Until how many
SML ni EC.
EC and just by election. Set 3 on the buy.
Yeah, just by election.
Because of time, I'm focusing just on 2.
SML.
How many minutes do I have?
Oh, 10 minutes to start. In that case,
Mami Chen 5-5. Now, Mami Sha's in free EC or Nami in free hotel. Now, SML, the issues no also. And some of them are very interesting. Yeah. Especially given the fact that your press conference be much of this content.
Why am I press conference? The NDC press conference.
Okay. Now who else did the press conference on SML?
Specifics.
No, and then who else did the press conference?
What's Ebi ana Mazda my press conference.
No, well. Okay. Whatever you covered, then
okay.
Until maybe become one. But the electoral commission. I was there. Some of these issues that are coming up are rehashing of old failed issues.
Really? The new things Imani are saying in
Mazda at the time,
sure.
You know, our focus had not, the themes we were working on did not include issues of sustainability and the rest of it.
Yes.
We, did issues related to governance. Ubekaya, and at the time the name was not Mazda anymore. We looked at some of the issues now. Among for a reason about the need for a new register and all the issues that came up. Imagine for these are old issues that were shot down. Because they were not founded on truth, they were not founded on facts. For example, to say the Electoral Commission wasted money to go and buy new BVDs and BVRs when they could have refurbished old ones. And you see, it feels like you are talking to yourself. Because these were issues that were raised then. The facts defeated their claims. They went as far as even propounding all kinds of weird theories that don't even exist. The Q theory.
Yeah.
The Q theory was propounded by
KFC or said queuing
theory. Wherever it
some of the restaurants be
analogy. I know creative theory, no. Okay. Mikro the KFC bit. A bit. What I do remember was the theory they propounded. Say, because of their queuing theory, even the registration, no, the BVRs that we had and the BVDs are now one, and to me, my electoral commission and your registration po. At the end of the day, the electoral commission did exceeded the target they were going to register. They were targeting to register 12 million people. They ended up registering over 70 million, and they did that instead of 40 days. They did it in 38 days. The Q theory fell flat on its face. This argument about BVDs were a waste of money, they could have refurbished the old ones. Every equipment has a different end of life. The EOL of every equipment is a Edru Honum na. And to me, ye Juma beam, Urifabishia and ye either pass no any beam, they've stopped production. And now the lifespan of such equipment no Edru until we are share and ye. Before this current crop of ECs ebaye and our commissioners buy, the previous one budgeted $56 million to refurbish old BVRs and then old BVDs and then to buy new ones and then set up a data center. 56 million. And let me give you some specifics, Obi, because the quantities are very, very important. Yet the quantities, if we get to have the quantities, then you would understand why I told you that these issues were raised earlier and they were shut down. Under the Charlotte Osei-led EC, they projected or budgeted to refurbish BVRs and BVDs and to buy new ones for the 2018 referendum and and then the DLE, which is the district level elections for 2019. TNE, they were projecting to refurbish BVDs, 46,200 of them, and the unit cost was $244. So for the 46,200, Nina would come up to $11.272,800 US. And the BVDs are they intended to buy new ones, no, 10,000. Listen to note the figures down: 46,000 refurbished, 10,000 new ones. BVDs, BVRs, and the BVRs are the biometric verification registration kits, no, which is different from the biometric verification devices, no. The kits come usually with the scanners, the cameras, and what have you, any baby audio inside, all of that. They were projecting to refurbish 1,670 of the BVRs and then buy 1,000 new ones. The new ones are not projected to buy. A unit cost was $5,145 US dollars. No, these are official EC documents.
Okay.
What is here? And I mean, you can EC has even issued another statement repeating and reproducing all these documents. I can send them to you, or you can just go on their website and you would find it. Me see these documents, because we had like official documents indicating the budgets that the Electoral Commission, you know, EC chairperson at the time, writing to Parliament and so on. So these are not facts and figures that are in doubt. And the total of the new BVRs would come to 5,145,000. And the refurbished ones are 8,670, would come to 3.65 million US dollars. At the end of the day, they were budgeting to spend 56 million US dollars. And look at the quantities. This time, guys, the quantities are important. So these are for the kids, and then they intended to set up a new data center. But this current EC is decided as a look. One, and like I said, Makadi wants some hammer to the point say, okay, you are repeating yourself. The manufacturers, HSB, BV, it's a Dutch company. Omuna producing the kits for us, the BVDs and the BVRs. They had written to the Electoral Commission saying, the equipment had reached UL, which is the end of life. No? And it's a more per refurbishment, krana, muba manje yukra munya personal. And it was going to even be more expensive. So when Muba and they felt, look, why refurbish some old ones? I already know. Omu drew the end of our lifespan. Until we refurbish cry, they would have a shorter lifespan. Like use would just be temporary. After the DLE for 2019, the referendum in 2018, won't mean you should be. So why spend this amount of money refurbishing idea won't you soon check? Because we had the 2020 election to run. So they decided to say, why don't we buy all together new kits? So they decided to say, better new BVDs and new BVRs. And look at the amount of money they spent. You see, if you compare the new ones for the old Electoral Commission, they were projecting to buy one BVD at $917. These ones bought them at $336. So they were able to buy more. Instead of 10,000 new BVDs, they bought 74,500. The cost came to 25,032,000. And if you sum the refurbished and the new BVDs are now old issue per se, it came to somewhere 20.2 million US dollars. So and the total would have been 56,000. The refurbished and the new ones. But where Omuton new ones entirely 74,500 and the amount was 25 million. And in the Krakrano, at the end of the day, they spent 54 million buying 74,500 new BVDs and then 8,500 BVRs. Compared to Wemua now Omuto 1,000 BVRs and then refurbishing 1,670. Omuto 8,500 brand new ones. Then they set up 2 data centers, not one, as against the earlier one. And they spent about $68 million. But if they were to use the rates of the previous administration, they would have ended up spending 112 million. You understand? So, if anything at all, there were savings. And now, BVs and BVDs are autonomous, and they will continue to use them until almost bedroom EOL. What I say? So, for somebody to say Electoral Commission's wasted money buying new BVDs because of procurement, they call it gig, when they could have done refurbishment, because cost effective.
Is it said they are not seized with this data?
Mischief. Because I remember very well, at the time we even got documents we shared with the Ghanaian public. The Electoral Commission itself published these documents. What I say, letters from the Electoral Commission, letters from the manufacturers to Electoral Commission, and all those things. So because this is rehashing of old field issues. Now, issue of the issue of BVDs now auction. So once this equipment, the Electoral Commission says, look, we have to find a way of disposing of them. So they went through all the processes, met with all the agencies to auction them. And private entity be toy. And the process was transparent. Private entity be toy. A recycling, plant.
Yes.
And sometime, I think last year or early this year, somebody found 10 pieces of the BVDs in some recycling plant and raised the alarms. Hey, Electoral Commission. Omu Tracy, they found out, say, near Electoral Commission, auction, and they were meant to be recycled. What I say? And it's not 10, they were not 10 pieces. And it was just 10 bipena nipanuhuye. And made it look as if say Electoral Commission Shada Cotton 10 BVDs and the rest of it. And just here once they had no use for them because no more and there was no data on the you can say registration now. They transferred the data from the equipment onto a main server until the next use of Zaino. Uko check so until say because of EOL there's no data to even be found on it. And the Electoral Commission BVDs and BVRs because they had to go through processes for them to be allowed to even auction them. And somehow I just think that because we are yet in another election year, it's in 2020, and look, they became unsustainable, and at the end of the day, the acute theories and all the other theories they propounded, 2024, we still need to find something. Electoral Commission in order to hang them. But I always say, a destroyed Electoral Commission is a destroyed Ghana. What you say? Say yes, say Electoral Commission. I say, Electoral Commission we are destroying the Republic of Ghana. Because if we begin to have issues with our elections because of some of these malicious claims are meant for AE, look, Ghana would not peace. You are peaceful until you are no longer peaceful. What you say? Who would have thought, say, a country like Liberia would end up in war? It was one of the most peaceful countries. Until the issue of power transition, colonial masters in their mind, one group wants to be the, to form the government. They never had that. But eventually they ended up in war. Yeah. Because, look, you can always end up in war if you take your peace for granted. And one of the things that we are taking for granted is the impartiality and the work the Electoral Commission is doing. At every time, I'm not saying don't criticize the Electoral Commission if they are wrong. I have had my fair share of criticisms of the Electoral Commission, and I will continue to do so. But when it is deliberate, it's malicious. It doesn't serve anybody. And especially with the issue see by Yetuguye with facts. 4 years later, what's our issues as I don't think, sir, these are things that will serve a collective good. And my advice is that, look, if you have any genuine issues to raise with the Electoral Commission, proceed with that. But rehashing and rebagging of old issues that are been found to be unsustainable, it can only be mischief. And that kind of mischief is dangerous. Disinformation and misinformation in an election year against the body that conducts the election is not in anybody's interest. And the earlier they stopped it, the better for everybody.
It's true. It's true. Ain't lawyer Emra, and then we can wrap up with the SML DNA. Yes, lawyer.
Okay, Obi. My first one will be on briefly on ECDA. No?
Okay.
And then I'll quickly do Ejisu by elections. ECDA no me is your maybe namsen time I'll call vacation in back maybe two Dr. Sebuku.
Yes.
I could not take to Jason not numbers metra. Now in your opportunity am I my mind and I'm coming to me to 1 or 2 questions to him. I think it was I'm feeling near Bako saying off. If I'm right, or I think so. I think I'm feeling near Bako saying off by elections, I remember. And I sent back on a kai pass and the catcher and say, you see, I would enter by the forecast him so bisa for in a coin. So beside than yet. I give my electoral commission yen. And yes, a political party being in the NDC or whoever. A woman as a probity a woman. And then you say, so what you to say, yen and I was me and yen man away at the Obi. And Peninsula by no stumma for the by no question. Into see when yen able my idea. Anytime something regarding Adina would yamay and as I want yen the yen, I won't be seen. A safata. So by my young dear question. Koka, ya woman sends me by a year cabin and say, oh, minority in parliament. And the good reasons I'm winning out of it. But Brana is no mukam carrying through here, and which no more than we Mumbai, so I didn't quite say in the same. Nana more yet to clear near the I reporter ma, so national security said police for Abe Peke were suspected employees. Eyebrows on them and so on and so forth.
And you're different from the Mika.
I'll come to the
those are
the recent issues.
The recent issues, yeah. So we did 2020 and I'm for every reason, yes. So the American question answer where you keep mute or you keep your clients as you know on the in dark or in the dark. You let him or you allow him to be speculating and be saying things that you don't want to be hearing.
That's fair.
But see a buyer in an man be banana is in what did you name as it were? Yawa IPAC yaw fitting for events after Jan. A parents by Pimune. And when a party see Koshia could incomo, and when a party see Koshia Quacha, and when a baby a cost 1 year, your copper compare, Yenya Babaso. Now we Amayenina. As he said, Liberia example, and now one is Liberian in a year. So that's it. Yam Penisa. And as I know, almost no more pennies, but a banasa. So that's it, but the impossible do. Ghana, Yanisha, could upon Sabi, a mamma 1 year to win national, as in Jedia will be. I may be up here if you feel a drain out in good as medium, Arianto. And no quan is not like I can afford to do on one head and enjoy. But I come in instances between Zidia, but do one enjoy that piece. But so when you had the another prep, you know, would the animal sum yen, be now we put your charging just and I'm away wood tree and more. The issue always decide to do their own thing. And don't me to me because for one of them. That Mr. Kwakuti, I make a answer. For instance, a brand of culture near our car say, or culture only district centers. Reason I would demand have brand no cop. Also, no mamma a parliament to answer questions over a corner year be or buy no copy before parliament. Reason I was citing behind that decision I would take in. To me, it was bogus. So we understand about preventing people from being bashed to the registration center. And you what do you call district capitals, the district center? No, 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 except those who live in that very community, no, district capital. No, I mean, when a district officer knows they can send one pen. Or majority of them will be coming from different areas and communities, and they'll be taking vehicles. And because you rather open the floodgate for political parties and politicians to bash people, and indeed that was what happened. That was what happened. And it is time the EC should admit and accept the fact that Osmuye, and then Kumaya, what you radios and way and no mafadrin. Your bandafo and a bandafo no baby share mafadrin. It is better, or it will be better, say, Ubakosama and Mumma, I prefer any Hayamobia. The Abama Yakotoba, you know, in your 2, I'm just in the 2 Namina and I. Nemo, when you say Madriam seminar 4, and I always seminar 2. we have had issues from back to front. And question that when I be able to do political year, not election year, na political parties are having issues with the electoral commission. Are we not supposed to move far from that? Esinano, Ejisu sine. And every 4 years, you electoral commission issues. Just because of the way they are doing their things, just because
just share opportunism by politicians.
Oh, well, I mean that is
when
your opinion.
They're in opposition, their tone is different. Or
that is your opinion, but I mean, there may also be some genuine concerns,
which they discover only when they are in opposition.
Oh, and yeah, as to when they discover it should not be a problem, but there may be genuine concerns. What does it? There may be genuine concerns. It's yeah, media and say, baby, about the 92. 96, 2000, 2004, but from 2024, how many years in here? Yabe and Imbebre. Sabre baby, we should be at peace and have some kind of calmness with the electoral commission. Because I mean, because the electoral commissioner, I mean the institution, not in Nipa, Abetra Trabi and Nasabi. But the institution, because you're not matter and like Manoma, ya, but permanent experience should be there enough, say. Yeah, that back and front and no one way saying one for me, one for we are marrying, not the Bia Babacano. It should stop. It should stop. Middle news in Obi, Yami Adamochna, Asante Ejisu, F4 Airco by election. The NDC as a political party, you say, we have just about 7 months or so. If I'm right, to the next general elections.
Yes.
And under normal circumstances, the elections be any before December. Now, so Yampan and Yabanasa,
Dr. John Kuma.
Yes, Nentuma since be Tapagua went to Yanfa. In Tinacoban, I'll see a pebis in the name. But the answer, I mean, looking at the facts, Nipa your candidate one day I say your parliamentary candidate. But Okas almost uncle elections now I mean December. Me personally the say I mean a kind of something that would be too difficult for him in terms of I mean spending and resources. In the end, on prepare whom we on for brand prepare who ye not uncle the main one, which is December. And so we decided not to file any candidate, or we decided to say more non-contest in the by-elections, but rather you might prepare for the main elections rather. NT young file, but as it stands now, I think it's about 5 people.
Yes.
5 people in there contesting for the by-elections.
But officially, almost a mota a duomiachi. NDC.
Official is that official?
No, me busam.
Busam officially yes, I do it. I've not heard any official communication on that ground, so I can't say yes to that. But the minimum say,
but Munya yan command for betrauma.
Me personally, dear. Those are one nip was some train bush.
Yes.
And just a constituency, and nip some train bush, and now grabbing constituency, no, and so bush. Now, bosom trip fun. And I'm saying, I mean, some genuine media, minimum, my crab, and who's a why. I know, dear, I mean, you go to put some idea of when I've been when why aren't the Mimaka?
Any area from the area to be
exactly. Oko Krobit is a quas so any maybe I don't come from December. On the person is an include as and Obi. Sabi Cronin feature now Yagusukota.
I know John Command Bay.
No, young man, I do me. To be honest with you, there is a million won't be a bacon adjustment. Or you might do me and well, I can't say be a John Nanch. And today be a band, but to be honest with you, job work wise, dear. I do me as far better.
Do me a 3-term
exactly to know about my pa. Nams me, Jidis and no soon tea, Anamani or what it for. But I was the ambassador cases in the say. Over the weekend, NPP year, one of their final rallies. I think they are almost in 3 communities. Now, Kakra me who ye on social media, a tram say this political party called NPP, woman is
Sir.
Yeah. I'm just going to use 2 people who are now their key people. Dr. Baumia and then Nana Kufuado. Dr. Baumia must know, I said, what about do me? What about my NDC? So they shouldn't vote for a do me. Then you must know. Now, also can give a brace, a do me, I can say, when MB before baby, but no contest, you know, ye wie mu na man no ono di wini ye ne nsense bebre hwe moko gina Fomena with your ministers na ponu mu na dade nyina akọ Fomena moko to ayampio bebre gu mu ho etia wure na when second deputy speaker of the parliament what saying on in December esiama ono bo esiama koye bi bia esiama belusu because we free party mo ko independent yetetom ye me no political parties no ufru musa ko independent automatically wonya party babim but ebenise so baja na gu sere so obi entwa tontuni ye woro obasa afa aba na sande na so sere no so biem an otana pa ama utani obasa de ye no an natural wo na biem otana pa no biem. There's a way to deal with people in politics because politics in nipa ne de ye matra ka sase mo da obi Mr. Nipa ni nyina decide say watchana bato easy for set your machines ni bibie sisi wo na obi this command nyina decide say yankoto aba na me say there will be no MP as at 6 p.m. tomorrow ye nya MP bia ho so wo hi nipa na wo dia ade no ye nkum dafo aniga say wo pasa wo mpe aduo mi sorry ewo ekitafo dodo wo ewo sam potam ho a wo mo don no pe na sempa video na supporters every undimi no so they love the man whether you like it or not. Yes, there will be people who also be against him. Yeah, normal. But so what could now cause a pan say what about man what about my this year? Me bisamu. What's that? No see much transfer be at here now some upon. Now bro so be an ngotwe. Na ma kan be awia me yahu de wadi nkuna sa dio me na adi nkunuma. Mo bo so la kosa no sa akohia na kwan sa mo ye sia ma parliament na. I'm asking them. So that a Siama should have been a lesson for you guys. So, but for Siama, and come on, your parliament. And look around, look at the way you have been struggling in the last 3.5 years, 4 years. Not mistakenly or whatever. Be before for us, see. I'm a more Basanko by election, someone who was once your member of parliament, as you said, for 3 good terms, 12 good years. As you were independent. So when be benim so ni mu bim there is a way am with my first chimpoka bia kamun na tin admi adin komo mo mo de ma anya sa ana mu nyina mako gina dina fa sera mo to man no wu wi aba na eto no na don't be ho that about me want to be ho wa ban kran ana se bia sa be wonnam and there is we eastern region it want to be ho chana want to be ho chana it mu am ko gina afanya markets want to be ho chana mo amko ho nyina do na mo nya mo fi aba mo fi timamofo na te wan ana beto wan mate their decision is paramount. So if they decide to send a DOM to parliament, will you object it? You can't object it. So allow them to make their own decisions. Because if we do one day, you guys, I know you. Because when you do by virtue of the rules, you know, and so we declare that you wish that he join you because of your numbers. It's a name more to money and move so we know it's not mobile.
Lawyer, Medasi. Atik Mohammed.
Yes.
Sorry, any other business.
Okay. SML in some Becca, I'm sure we've had this conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, this uncle may have. And let me say,
SML, right? Not yes. SMS.
Yeah, SML.
L, not S.
So now I can't
see any sign of it's Strategic Mobilization
Limited, sure.
And because I'm paying and also obeying you. Well, that is fair. Nimum. I issued a caveat say, until such a time say the report would be produced.
Yes.
And it should be done on the condition say if Yabehu say Juma Muyano and Sweeney Nebi Chimwa, they should not be entitled to any payment. Nemum if Abain Ejisu say Juma Muyano Ebwa, and if the report shows say Juma Muyano Ebwa ma Abain SCV revenue, then they should continue to pay them like as if the contract was never terminated. Obient Yemi. And right now the report says Omejumano, results in government making more revenue.
Sure. Because
they're able to discover some more liters than as before. And between the period that I suspended on contract, It tells you the government was losing revenue.
All things being equal.
Wabbing. No, I like that. Oh, yes.
It's the smartest answer to give you anyway.
No, Wabbing. No, Wabbing, no, because, no, I like that. You need to proceed on the assumptions there, all else remaining constant. What is here? It means they are losing revenue.
Yeah.
This is, in fact, we are losing revenue, and yeah, are buying crap because yeah, are buying. What is here?
Sure.
And on that chain, the report has been produced. I shared the views that report ought to have been made public.
The full report.
The full report. Because this is a public document. Who conducted and who commissioned audit? No? You did not do it on your own volition. No? You did it because there was demand on you to cause that to be done. And yes, our report. No? And it is for us, the Ghanaian people. You may be the president, but you are acting for and on our behalf.
Yeah.
And that report ought to have been made public. Because SML has come out to even deny some of the findings. What is here? And it says here, in my head, there is a stalemate between, and you need to reconcile these different views. Near SML, I cannot say the data that was used, and yet they ought not to have used that data. And it sounds logical. What is here? And KPMG for so use different set of data. We need to read the report. Data use here. Then we can reconcile the conflicting issues. The other issues when they say me, I have always made the point say anywhere there are volumes, are buying food and our tax is dependent
based on volumes. Footwear. Yeah.
Footwear is based on the volumes. There's always a tendency for under declarations. Yeah. There is always a tendency for government to be shortchanged. And he said, well, mechanism be in place to ensure say government is not shortchanged. I have no issue with that, especially if it is about increasing our revenue collection. Okay. The annual GRE reports now, as the most recent is the 2022 one. I don't know if the 2023 has been produced, but the 2022 report, it tells you say our tax to GDP effort form is not the best until there are efforts to increase our tax collection, our revenue collection. That ratio can be increased. Until any effort to increase our revenue, in doing so, there should always be value for money. And I said, look, if government did a needs assessment, Omojitumu said this is something they need. Why should we have issues with it? But the report says otherwise. SML is saying
SML says the Ernst and Young technical report.
Yes. Was a needs assessment
report. A needs assessment report.
Yes.
So, which actually told the story
of why the leakages.
Why they had
and the report actually admits there were leakages.
Sure.
But according to them, there was no needs assessment done. I strongly share the view, once there are leakages, we need to plug those leakages. Yeah. And if this is the way to go, I have no issues. People have spoken about procurement processes. Say omoko, because it was so omoko bias and as for. You see, issues of technology, mostly they are proprietary solutions. I see the problem, I develop, a technical or technological solution to,
and I pitch it to
you. You don't expect, I'm sure SML was fully aware of the technical reports now SN for a producer. Yeah. So they said, problem nini. We can provide a technical solution to this problem. Until they put their expertise to work and came up with a solution. You are saying, Abayingo advertise it. How is that done? Because this is, you see, like I said, when it comes to technology, you can proprietary nippon are developing idea or no nim near kwaya offer so idea. So you can say idea ni pay ye advertising. Maybe if the problem you want to advertise the problem, that is fair. But when it comes to technology, it is not a DBI you do through competitive bidding. We want OB to provide some technology for us until we are opening it. Somebody says I have a solution, and you can source it. So long as the processes were not criminal and I were not tainted with illegality, I don't see any problem with that. But the most important thing is that they rejected them, they went 3 times. The most important thing is that at the end of the day, they had a regular approval was given and a regular contract was signed. And yes, sir. What I say. So if the focus is on performance, the report says they partially did well. Until Amika said we need the full report. What do they mean by partial performance? And SML is Mukan is saying is a what is the word to say they are opposing in law?
The objective.
Averment, and I'm going to say
that be averment. Yeah, the averment will be.
They are objecting to that finding. Saying yes, sanity. What must say? So how then do we know? Say near reports for no aircano, KPMG for aircano, indeed is the truth. But at the end of the day, my belief is Ejuma Omoyen, is it important? And the answer is yes. Has it led to an increase in revenue? The answer is yes, even according to KPMG.
KPMG has said that, but the CSO say they disagree with that. And
what is the basis?
Point, they say.
When you say CSOs, which ones?
Imani has spoken, specifically Bright Simmons. We've heard from ASEP. Their argument has been said within that period under review. What really is the reason for the increase we've seen? The consumption of fuel by Ghanaians. And where you consume fuel, the economy was where we consumed more fuel within that period. And new taxes now by introducing on fuel, and I mean increment in taxes on the revenue side. And
so within the subject period, how many taxes on petroleum now are introducing? You need to ask that question.
It's a good question.
Because a lot of these were existing before even, SML came into the picture. What must I say?
Yeah.
So to end this, this ridiculous assumption there has been an increase in consumption, and that is why our buying revenue so across. When the price, you see, there's something we call price elasticity of demand.
Yeah.
When the price of a commodity goes up, it affects its consumption. What I say?
The demand becomes less.
Even if the demand is inelastic, because of additional cost, maybe the change in price might affect demand, but not as much as the increase in price. But nonetheless, there's still going to be an effect on the consumption. But nonetheless, there's going to be a decrease. When it Masa, now we top fuel 10,000 to fill your car, 1,000, 1,100. Says here, I know one cost 2,005. You will not be able to buy the 1,005. And yes, I will
still be buying 1,000.
You still be buying your 1,000. Volumes will be conform. So this because prices there has been an increase in consumption. Consumption is a function of price and income.
And my point is that the data will not support a claim like that.
It's just ridiculous.
When you look at the data from 2019 through to 2019 January to 2020 April, which is 16-month period.
Yes.
Before SML.
Absolutely.
Now we share NPA traded volumes now. It hinged around 400, 378, 400. On the average, 400 million. Over time, your friend saying SML Muna. The demand is still around the same.
Exactly.
Around the same, like so traded volumes near around the same 400.
So it doesn't. There has been an increase in consumption. The amount of traded volumes, are increasing. It's ridiculous. Because, like I said, consumption is a function of price and income. If there's an increase in fuel price, it's because incomes are conform. And if the price increases, as you are a rational agent, you will bet. Say, look, idea ya tumui, media gra, ebi me pakikai, intimim premium who say me koso a filmic tank no, mebunu tot sa. And you are saying that Nipana obunu tot no has led to an increase in consumption. What kind of economics is that? In fact, common sense quite free. And this is the base upon which they are disputing the report. This is the base upon which I hear SML Jumana and Sweeney. And then what is the basis? And if this is the basis, It is as ludicrous as it can get. But having said so, and also a press conference,
yes.
And sometimes, look, he made reference to, and that is why I am saying that the full report. No, SML disagreed with the fact that this contract required parliamentary approval. Okay, and the Public Financial Management Act.
Yes.
And they cited Section 33. It talks about
33.
multi-year expenditure commitments. Sure. It talks about covered entities. And covered entities who call Section 102, which is the interpretation. Covered entities are constitutional bodies, the legislature, the executive, and the rest. But Section 33 says that any arrangement that commits government to, and such commitment has financial implications, which is binding on government. It has to be approved first by the minister and Parliament.
Yes.
In accordance with Article 181. What kind of Article 181? It talks about loans.
Yeah, Article 181 talks about loans.
And is this a loan agreement between government?
A lawyer friend just sent me this when we're having the conversation.
And this is a loan agreement. Yes.
I say Article 181 deals with the GOG entering into a loan agreement by itself or other authority doing so as a result of an act of Parliament.
Yes.
The distinction which must be made clear is that the GRA and SML contract was not a contract for a loan.
No.
But for services which places some financial commitment for a multiple year.
So
that kind of contract is what Section 33(2) deals with. Section 33(2) provides for the way such contracts are approved by Parliament.
Yes.
Section 21 deals with annual budget approvals by Parliament for the various government agencies. In the circumstance as in the GRA and SML contract situation, what was required from GRA was for it to include its yearly budgeted payment to SML for the services rendered to Parliament. The approval of Parliament occurs when the ministry's budget with GRA as an agency's budget is passed by Parliament, which has already been done.
So they did not require any parliamentary approval because the arrangement between GRA, any Minister of Finance, and then SML, and your loan agreement. Now, so this is the basis of Ejisu. But you see, I have an issue, and the contract talks about the upstream and the minerals. Maybe SML needs to take a pause and look at that.
Okay.
And I share the view, say it's been terminated. Let's allow, almost they should do needs assessment.
Sure.
Maybe the needs assessment would indicate there's no need for that. There could be. Let them do the needs assessment. Because my information is that even with the upstream, there are 3 layers of monitoring.
Yes.
The operators, Petroleum Commission, obviously, because that's the regulator. And then you also have GRA, that they have their monitors. What is here? Monitor, the quantities. But that's what I'm saying. A needs assessment will tell us all these what the situation is and whether indeed intervention is required. And I maintain the point there, where there are volumes and taxes, there are always leakages and short changes. And assessment will tell us whether indeed this is a service that is needed or not. But as for Nkrofua, I respect CSOs because we are in the same space.
Sure.
But sometimes you want to question the intention of some CSOs. For me, if you are a civil society organization, if you are presenting an argument, it should be cogent enough to convince people. But merely saying, Debbie, upstream need a enjoy. What is the basis? You should be able to tell us, maybe there are 3 layers of monitoring.
Yes.
Say. Look, Obi has also advanced an argument, say, the problem at the upstream, say at the upstream level, it is more of an accounting problem.
Yes.
Because when you say, we also have other entitlements, like petroleum entitlements, beyond the Enyan. Because the calculation there is disagreement.
Sure.
So we have an accounting problem even at the upstream. And this issue of monitoring is a problem. So it needs a thorough needs assessment.
Will help us
know where we stand and what we need to do.
Very well. Achum, about the
except me Ogaso Brass and 2 more men coming there. Another shoe now opposite Saturday over crowd. Anyway, we are All right. Obi, my first point said a brand continue and I didn't question million, but I can't remember the summary I can say. A bonus a DNC Mampanin for a report on my.
The full report from
KPMG. The reason India what keeping the idea.
It's a legitimate question.
Very much so.
I didn't hear. Okay, I was an amateur. One in way.
So, put in Ghana Police Service.
But report to say, oh, how? The Mampanin one at a report was a weapon. So today, Miniano continue to struggle to defend himself because Obia want to report to assess and say, "Ye can't say we and I answer say na my way we say we can say yenim." But osuro of him, Obi so ko no butuo, Obi so ko no da ye ya, Obi so ko no da say, "My ye hu na de na Obi can yet me tumne actually see."
Okay.
So what I say? Yes. Don't keep the report as he said. One said I shall say uncle yes I manamra because one person Ghana for whom the costing anything about a man say what shall say you I don't know what say you go human and young man panina to get your macao or mind the try we Ghana or Ghana and I said the country paid KPMG to work not President Nana Kufuor paying KPMG so it's a reporter back from the work that the KPMG have done. Don't you think we are supposed to know because they had our money as their fee? Why are you keeping the report? Because the report in the back, whether or not SML is saying something genuine or they are not saying something genuine, we can deduce it from the report. But now, report in Yeni, and I want to know the report. Me, I mean, you knew. Because I know that you can do cherry picking. I know you can do cherry picking from the report. In that, with my yin, some the officer offer. The officer come here and maybe I come here. But so Nina my idea, you better send a fan couldn't have. No, but if I said I send a answer for the answer was near Yahudia, woman and Ukraine. But it says I won't go one thing. Dear, let us cannot appear when someone and across Sassan the woman. Kakabina walk am I yet to know? So they are saying this, they are saying that, they are saying that. No, as I think was saying, you say they did their work, or was it in partial what?
Partial success.
Partial success. No? What then? Partial. What went into that partial part? No?
Okay.
Half year then, full year then. But Sebian can report to be a CA who can. We will know how come they said they performed partially. But now, who can ye? One I wash him when my for the bits and pieces of Kakarabi yen. I don't know, but medicine, the maker as you understand. For us to be able to bring this matter to a good conclusion, we need to see the report.
Okay.
So that whether you're from saying that be serious no Imani and Co no whether the point that they are raising I mean I love that the reference now make it. So if our consumption hasn't changed and was quite more or less static in that before and then during now you were the same level they are, then one more point is also subject to further scrutiny. But see you make my scrutiny and we need to go further and better details. But here is the case. I say, we are just hovering around Kakana Yatiano and the can be. But the nitty-gritty is Yeni. And I think I will urge Parliament that they should call on the Finance Minister to produce that report to Parliament. Since it is our money that was used to pay the KPMG guys to work, we need to see the report so that we can go into it.
Very, very good point. Lawyer Medasi, Ekosiisen, a higher Sempa FM.